the light was fading, so he was in an area with some brown trees, and I lost him. I said, "Oh man, did he duck back in?" Well, about that time, he stepped away from the trees. I'm like, "Nope, there he is."
Were you scrambling?
I was scrambling.
Were you excited?
So just a little bit. So
Were you breathing heavy?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
This segment of DOD TV is brought to you by Leupold, American to the core.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild podcast. This is episode number 239. You are Matt Drury.
You are Tim Chelsvik, and we have a special guest in-house.
We got Mr. Coon Dog.
Steve Coon Dog Coon, longtime Drury Outdoors team member, renowned big buck killer, a turkey fanatic. Some call him the madman's right-hand man, half of Team Mad Dog. If you want a better introduction, I don't know what the hell you want from me. Let's do this.
I've also heard he's been known to kill margaritas.
That I am.
That's right. Of everything we just said, that was probably the truest part.
That's true. Well, we should say that we are powered by DeerCast.
That's right.
Per usual. And I know a lot of people are like, we're heading into late season and the pickings are getting a little slim. Some of the bucks are gone.
Yeah. Some are broken.
Some are broken up.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people popping in on DeerCast on the fan share saying like, I used DeerCast to time a front that was coming through and I got on my buck.
Yeah.
Makes us happy.
I saw a guy on Instagram I follow the hashtag DeerCast on Instagram. You can follow hashtags. And I saw one come up just this couple days ago, 2 days ago. The guy killed a hell of a deer. I sent you a message and Alan a message and Scott a message like, hey, check this out. Because the guy's just like going on and on about it. So it's always neat to see that.
I mean, that's why we do all this stuff. Ultimately, at the end of the day, is to see people be successful.
Yeah.
It's nice to get some feedback when that happens. So let's hop into some shout outs. We can talk about Coon Dog's kill and his season in general.
Kills. Yeah, I told him the other day, we have a thing. We used to do this award show every year called the Shoot to Thrill Awards. And the big award of the night was called Producer of the Year. And we still do Producer of the Year. We still do that one award. We don't have the big award show like it used to be. But the other day I texted Coon Dog and I said, Producer of the Year,
He's
Coon
coming.
Dog.
Yeah, the old dog got off the porch.
Well, we should welcome our newest Rack Pack members. And remember, one of these Rack Pack members is falsified. They're made up.
And just a heads up, if you don't know what the Rack Pack is, you go to Facebook, you type it in the search, 100% Wild Rack Pack, and that's our like private little group of shenanigans and cool kids basically
Mostly.
for this podcast. So Coon Dog, are you on the Rack Pack?
No, I'm not a cool kid.
Exactly. Case in point.
Poor Coon Dog.
Stay on that porch. Well, get with the times. That's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah,
all right. So we got Jason Buckman, Janet Turdington. All right, I'm going to keep reading. Ryan Keithley, Devin Cahoe, Alonzo Hornback, and Chris Johnson. I'm going with Janet Turdington.
I think it's Chris Johnson. That's not a real name.
He always throws a fake name in here. Which one do you think it is?
Who knows with him?
I'm going to go with the last name Turdington.
Yeah, good one.
I think that's Finnish.
Okay.
And then Dennis Knapp over on YouTube, he was watching the Safe Buck and Matt's Big Boy show, says, this is where commas really come into play. Commas are really important. They can change the entire meaning of a sentence. He says, pregnant with a 30-year mortgage, baby. Congratulations to you, Matt, on owning your own property by yourself. It's a big step.
No, you messed that up. It's a mortgage baby. It's no comma supposed to be there. It's it's a mortgage baby. Instead of having a baby, we had a mortgage baby.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's bizarre.
I think I get what he's saying. Makes sense to me.
So like a mortgage that is also a baby.
Yeah. It's costly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. So he's happy that you are now a big boy.
All right.
It's Coon Dog.
Yes, Tim.
Your season. Well, so maybe let's take a step back. If folks are not familiar with the Coon Dog, I'm curious, when did you start appearing in Drury Outdoors media?
Oh my goodness.
Late 90s?
Let's
98?
see. Whenever Terry had
1990s?
Impact Videos, Impact Productions.
Yeah.
Terry had that.
That would have been mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
See, so there was a period there where the guy started a second production company. So we had Jury Marketing, and we had Impact Productions. And the reason for that, at the time, the retailers would only buy so many of their VHS titles from one production company. So they said, you know what? Let's just start a second production company.
Hey.
It was all the same people.
Same content, but
well,
just different
content, but same
production
same
house,
cast.
essentially, yeah.
So Coon Dog and Terry and I forget who all was kind of primarily on the Impact production side.
It's been a while. I can't even remember some of the names, but that's like nowadays people don't realize like Impact Productions. I go, and some of the guys that are diehard fans, they remember 'em.
Yeah, yeah. So you're going way back in time. So that'd be, I think, mid-90s, roughly.
So roughly, yeah. We tried, but Mark and I tried to figure it up the other day, and we couldn't come close. So it was
Too many
That means
margaritas.
it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So, but we were friends before that. 2 years, I had to lease in Missouri. Terry and Stevie came up to turkey hunt with me and stuff. So for a couple of years, we were just friends, and Terry introduced me to Mark, and then it all just started rolling.
Because you had a lease there in North Missouri that had a, what was the name of that bunkhouse you guys called it?
Lawman's Hunting Club.
Yeah, Lawman's Hunting Club. And so we went, they were going there for turkey season. That was the big turkey camp. You guys would have riders in and all kinds of stuff.
And the first 1 or 2 dream seasons was held there.
The first one for sure was held there. And then I think the second one we held over at Kevin Small's, KT's Trophy Hunts at the time. And they're in Bible Grove area, Memphis, somewhere in there.
So that's been some years.
Yeah.
Gosh, when was the first year for dream season?
First year dream season would have been 2004. And because that was the first year I had worked here. The first year we started television with Wildlife Obsession was 2003. So 04 was for the first dream season. So 05 would have been the one at KT. So 04 was the one we went over to your place.
Yeah, and that's so funny. You talk to the other team members, and you laugh and joke, and some of them don't even remember them old shows. I mean, that's how young the team is now.
Yeah.
Some of them are. You're like, so you're like, oh, yeah. This is definitely a young man's game nowadays. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Let's be honest. It's not a very financial. You're not going to make many financial gains doing it. And so, if you're doing it as long as you have, it's a passion. The reason is for the passion, the camaraderie of the team,
The food.
Food. It's not about making. It's not necessarily even about the ego side, which a lot of not saying the young crew on our end is like this, but a lot of people getting into it now, there's a little ego about it. It's like, hey, I'm going to be on TV, or I'm going to be an influencer on social media. It really wasn't any of the thought process back then.
No.
And if you're still around on our team and still doing it, it's definitely not your thought process now.
My thought process now, though, it's the DOD family.
Yeah.
That's
It always has been for you.
That's where it's at. That's where it's going to stay.
Yeah. So it's been a long ride, because hell, like you said, you were helping, turkey titles back in the day, deer titles back in the day, and then dream season. And then all of a sudden you were on dream season. You were on Land of the Giants, you and John Williams for Team Missouri.
Yep.
And then a couple of years after that, you would have been on with Joe Schultz. I forget what year, the first year you and Joe teamed up.
It would have been the year before dream season, I think.
No, because you were with John Williams for a few years there, and you guys were on Land of the Giants. So that would have been like season 4 of dream season. And I'm thinking like season 7 or 8, you guys started. Yeah, you and Joe Schultz started rolling together. So anyways, long time ago.
Years go by.
They do.
They do.
History.
Well, and in the last few years, it's been kind of slow. You've been helping, you went through retirement. You're still working major hours on another new job, and then finding the time to get out there and hunt. It's been tough, hadn't it?
Yeah, and then that one year, Mark needed help filming, so I went and joined the team and put hunting aside and just started picking up the camera.
Yeah, yeah. So Dog's always there to help us, and always, we know we can count on him no matter what it is.
Yeah, kind of a pillar in the DOD halls of history.
No doubt. We've seen a lot of people come and go, and Dog stayed here through it all.
Yep. This dog ain't going nowhere.
So is hunting any different? So you retired, has it been 2 years now?
3 years? 3 years, I think. 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Has hunting been any different for you in terms of like the time that you can afford for? But I know you're not completely retired.
No, my first year that I did retire, I went gung ho and I hunted like several states. And I mean, I hunted everywhere I could. Tags, travel, motels, did it all. Didn't kill a deer that year.
It spent a lot of that retirement
Spent
money.
a lot of that money. And I was like, oh gosh. And then the next year rolled around. I think that's the year that Mark needed help.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
So then the following year, I was helping Mark again. And then he elected to let me shoot a deer, one of his deer. So that was cool. So that was pretty neat. And then this year, Mark was like, hey, dog, you need to step up and try to hunt a little more. So owner's request, I got off the porch and I hit it hard.
It's weird. He's never said that to us.
I think he said the opposite. Like, guys, you need to stay in the
Spend more time
studio
in the
a
studio.
little bit longer.
Work on that DeerCast a little longer.
No, but man, you hit it hard this year, and you have been rewarded. You got 3 kills on the ground so far.
Yep.
And it's been a hell of a year. A couple really big deer, and I look forward to hearing a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I was, gracious enough to hook up with a guy in Illinois and went over there, sat his farm up, put into food plots, which are fabulous biologic food plots, let me tell you. Hung stands, put up blinds, did the whole ball of wax.
Yeah.
And I had 1 or 2 deer that was on the hit list, and I got fortunate enough to kill my second target deer, so
Sweet.
I was excited about that.
Where at in Illinois?
Over in New Athens, close to
Okay.
New Athens.
Okay.
Yep. So 50 minutes from the house.
That's
so that even
nice.
makes
Yeah.
it better.
Yeah. Just hop across 255 there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And shoot on down there. So got that done, and I was happy about that.
And that was a hell of a deer.
Yeah, I named him Booner, the Booner 10, because in all the trail cam pics, he looked like a Booner.
Yeah.
But once he was on the ground, he was like 158, 159. just
Somebody
right
big
there.
eyed him.
Somebody big at him. Somebody had a little ground shrinkage.
Hold on.
That's what she said.
They always look so good on camera, man.
Yes.
That is something, like, especially when you're looking at them in velvet and you start naming these deer. You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
holy shit, he's huge.
He's a giant. I'm going to kill him.
And that's still a giant. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not-
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah.
that's a hell of a deer.
And I shot him with a crossbow, happy about that. The mission's crossbow found its mark. When everybody sees it, I guess they did see it on DeerCast by now, I'm sure, where I kind of did a rookie mistake and grunted at him a little close and spooked him, but
He was close.
he was close.
It worked out well, though.
It worked out
Yeah.
well. Yeah. So I'm
So that was
good.
number 1.
That was number 1. And
Well, did you kill in Missouri first?
no, Illinois first.
Okay.
Illinois first. And then I traveled to Marks for gun season, and we had a heck of a deer season 21 up there. I mean, it was a blast. I mean, a lot of deer hit the ground. And the day before, I missed this deer.
No, what happened
Are you
there?
shocked that I missed? Usually I miss.
I bet Mark didn't give you any shit either. That's a tough camp to be in if you
Sure is
miss.
gracious.
Oh, yeah. So unfortunately, I missed. And you know how you feel when you miss. It's just the worst feeling ever. But it's a better feeling than hitting it and losing it. So,
Yeah.
so I wasn't that upset because it was a clean miss. We went back and looked. But, and then the next morning, hunted, didn't see him. That evening, Perry and I went to a spot. And we were deciding where to go. I go, it's hot. I go, let's go down to the bottom. We went down to the bottom, and he stepped out. And I could have been more excited to see that deer step out.
What gun were you using?
I was using a 6.8 Western.
Hell, you're wearing the sweatshirt.
Oh, well, nice shirt.
I didn't even know that. That's cool. That gun, that's what I killed my Missouri deer with. It packs a punch.
It packs it. He dropped like a sack of potatoes. I mean,
Sweet.
Nice.
because the day before, or 2 days before, Mark shot his with it, and the way it dropped, and he even offered. He goes, "You want to take the gun?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll take that bad boy." And that deer dropped like a rock.
Nice. He knew the gun was on, so he didn't want you to have any other excuses.
Yeah, that's Mark.
So that was number 2.
That was number 2, and then fortunately, I was invited to K&S Outfitters with Caleb and Nicole Shanky there in Madison, Kansas. Went out there. They had me a target buck located. Needless to say, the weather was terrible. You heard of dog days of summer. These were dog days of December. I mean,
Crazy.
60s, high 50s. It was just terrible. And the first 3 days, I sat all day except for one. I got out for about 2 hours, but 2 of the days, I sat all day.
Oh boy.
Those can be long days
They were long
when it's
days.
hot like that anyways.
It was miserable. I mean, miserable. But spent 3 days doing that, and then no luck. So I went back to camp. Was at the lodge talking to Caleb, and he's go, "Hey, I got a spot. There's a lot of deer." He goes, "I haven't had a target deer show up on my cell cam, but there's a lot of deer in this spot." I'm like, "Well, heck, I'll go try it," because it was a standing bean field, basically. They couldn't get in there and cut it all because it was wet.
Okay.
So I said, "Heck, that's a no-brainer." Went in there, popped up the muddy, and got set up that evening. Hunted the first night in there after setting it up. Needless to say, neighbors, which is their property, no fault of theirs. I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. Prime time's rolling up, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 talking, shouting, deer blowing. I'm like, oh boy. So I only saw a couple of deer, and they were way at the other end of the field. So no fault of the neighbors. Hey, good for them. Hope they killed something good. So went back to the cabin. Started talking to Caleb about what happened that day, and he goes, "Well, that's just crazy." He goes, "My cell phone's just blowing up with deer over there." Looked at deer, just right there. I'm like, I'll go back.
That night after you had left.
Yeah. After that night, after I left, they were showing back up. So
maybe the commotion on the other property drove the deer in.
That's what we thought too. That had to happen because once all the noise and shooting, and talking went on, the deer were like, "Whoa," So the next night, headed back out to the blind. Neglected to go back in there in the morning. Didn't want to bump anything out of the field, so we went back in there that night. I was self-filming, slid in there, got ready. DeerCast, poor. I'm like, reason why? 72 degrees.
Yeah.
Pressure low.
Yeah.
Wind 22 mile an hour.
Moon suck.
It was just bad.
Dark of the moon.
Yeah. So but you still gotta sit there. You still gotta grind it because you can't pick the days you hunt. You can just hope that the day you pick is going to be a good one.
When you're going to an outfitter, especially, and you got a limited amount of time, we get this question a lot. I got it on our last podcast that we uploaded in DeerCast. A guy asked, I saw that he asked, and you had commented, and I did as well.
It was a lady.
Oh, that was? Okay. I wasn't paying close enough attention, but basically said, "Hey, I only got, I got a little bit of time off. If DeerCast isn't great, what should I do?" And we both had the same opinion. Hey, you got to go. If that's your time off, or you're at an outfitter, or you're out of state, like you got to go. Yeah. You're going to go. And I was mentioning this to Scott the other day. I feel like
Scott Heminger. Scott! That's Scott.
Yeah. And I felt like this year with DeerCast has been tough because the temperatures have been mostly warm all year. The moon has sucked all year, and kind of how we, Mark and Terry kind of built that algorithm off of your typical average years. Everything's kind of gone against it because the moon's backwards and the temperatures are warm, unseasonably warm, and the deer are going to move at some point.
They have to. They're still out there. Yeah.
Now, is the majority of it happen at night? Probably so, but can something be walking during the daylight? Absolutely. So it's one of those things. Like a guy asked me once, he's like, he emailed us and he said, "Should I go if it says poor?" And I said, "Hey, if that's the only day you got to go." He goes, "So you're saying I don't need DeerCast?" I'm like,
Gotcha. I got you.
It's always the gotcha. I'm like, that's up to you. There's so much information in there and there's so much to learn from it. It's your call. But if you only have a limited time, I would say you're going to go. Now, as I look at it and we plan our hunts and we have, busy life and busy schedule and work and family obligations, I look at it, and if it says great, I'm going to try to clear the calendar to hunt that day. Yeah. If it says poor or bad, that goes into my decision of whether or not I'm going to waste or not waste my time. Or it may not even be a waste of time. It's more of, it's so hard to clear your schedule. You only get so many get out of jail free cards at home. Like, better use them wisely.
Your home's not a jail.
So, have you been there? So that's my point. I didn't mean to derail the story there, but that's the reality of it, and it's not, you still have to, if you can go. Yeah. As long as you're not messing up your access in, you got the good wind. Like, as long as you're not blowing the deer out every time you go.
Yeah.
That's a factor.
On a poor bad, I probably won't travel to one of my more distant properties. Yeah. Because I don't want to burn that time on the road with very little chance of seeing something. Mm-hmm. There's lots of decisions within should I hunt that we hope people are thinking through.
Yeah. So it was poor. You went out.
Went out anyway. Yes.
Yep.
Definitely. And, the wind was right. The only good thing about it, the wind was right for this spot.
Did you have good access in?
Yeah, it was a big bean field, park, walked about 200 yards straight to the blind.
Yeah.
All the deer was in the creek, in the brush, away from the field. So got set in there at night again, hot. Seen a deer come out early, and I thought, hey, wait a minute now, here's a deer out early. I'm thinking, okay. Came out, wasn't there a couple minutes, turned around, went back in. Had a mom and a fawn come out a little bit later. They turned around, went back in. I'm like, okay, this is not good.
Is it me?
Is it me? I'm like, but anyway, then after they went in, you're sitting there thinking, game mind going, oh boy, here we go. It's hot. They're not moving, and right off the bat, I said, DeerCast was 100% right. Movement's going to be bad. And boy, it is. And I'm just sitting there enjoying the evening, basically waiting for the sun to go down so I could cool off a little bit.
Sure.
And about that time, I looked over to my left and I was like, oh my, shooter. And then,
Did you shit your pants?
yes, I did.
That's a giant.
And then it was like, okay, I'm facing out the front. He's to my left. It's time to shift. Camera, tripod, getting everything there. Glassed him one time. And then the light was fading, so he was in an area with some brown trees, and I lost him. I said, oh, man, did he duck back in? Well, about that time, he stepped away from the trees. I'm like, nope, there he is.
Were you scrambling?
I was scrambling.
Were you excited?
So, just a little bit. So,
Were you breathing heavy?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
He's got asthma, Tim.
Yeah.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Asking a lot of very specific questions.
But in all honesty, I didn't get nervous until I picked the gun up.
Yeah.
Because I kicked in the...
Kill mode. You kick that Indian mindset into gear.
But my first priority was get the footage.
Yeah.
So it was, and then I've learned when you self-film to let the deer start on this side of it and just walk, then move the camera, let them, instead of trying to follow them, which is jerk, 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 jerk.
Yeah.
Just let them walk through.
Yep.
So that's what I did. I did it 3 times. And then when I grabbed a gun, and that's when I got nervous.
How far out was he?
About 140, 150 yards.
Shit, close. And what were you shooting? Because that was Illinois' second shotgun season. You gonna have a muzzleloader?
I was in Kansas.
Oh, Kansas. Sorry,
Kansas. I was the Winchester XRP.
XPR.
Yeah, the XPR 30-06.
Nice. That's a good caliber.
Yeah, it's a good gun. So
Yeah, flat shooting.
I was happy with that. And dropped him like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
And
No track job?
no track job. Fell in frame. Boom. All I saw
how
was
you do
horns
it.
sticking up.
What was your reaction?
Oh, you got to watch it.
I haven't seen it yet. So Coon Dog's in the studio today. He lives kind of locally to us, and he's in the studio today to drop off the footage and work on his DeerCast, see the shot video and all that with the guys here at the studio. So I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited.
There's 2 good ones. One's I'm doing the cotton out gel in the middle of the field.
Whoa.
Terry ain't got nothing on me.
Where did you come from? Where did you go, Coon Dog?
I heard, because, you're self-filming, so
Yeah.
I wanted to take a peek at him. So I set the camera up, I walked out there, and I danced my way back.
Yeah.
So how's the kill shot itself? Self-filming. 20 out of a 10. Damn, son. I got to see this.
I'm proud of myself on this one.
Sweet.
My man, the dog.
Yeah, I did good.
It's a hell of a deer. 175 inches.
175.5.
So
They measured it 3 times,
Uh-huh.
and two of the guys came 174, 175. One guy was high 178, and I thought, if 2 guys were at 175, I'll go with theirs.
I told him, I said, I want to use the 178.
No kidding. Yeah, stop while you're ahead, man.
I just wanted to be sure.
No long arming on this one.
Oh, no, there was no longer. I didn't have to sit at the butt of the deer.
Coon Dog's a tiny little man back there.
Farm all the way out there.
Awesome.
Well, that hunt will be in DeerCast by the time this episode launches.
Sweet.
So folks can go watch it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to see the reaction because Coon Dog, that's kind of your calling card. And I remember an article a long time ago, probably early 2000s. I forget who put it out, but it caused a big stink. And it was about act like you've been there before. It was the kind of the premise of it. And God, what was the guy that wrote that?
Jim Richmond.
No, I remember the name. But anyways, it was basically busting the guys on TV. TV at that point was kind of a new and fresh thing, and it was busting everybody's chops for having these over-the-top reactions. Well, some people, it's genuine. Coon Dog's one of those guys.
And I'm cool with the genuine.
Yeah.
post-kill celebration.
Yeah.
When it's contrived and you can tell it's icky feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I look
Coon
forward to
Dog's
seeing
a
it.
real deal.
So yeah, I enjoy it. It just works me up. It does, man.
That's why you keep doing it, man.
Let's see if I got the text because Mark and Terry and I at text back and forth, and let me find this because it's pretty funny what Terry's reaction to your. Well, first of all, he says, "Heap big engine on fire," and because Mark says, "Dog killed a 175 today," and Kansas says, "Kills great." I go, "Wow," and Dad says, "Heap big engine on fire," and then Mark sent the picture the next day, and Dad goes, "One happy engine."
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's been a long, fun relationship.
Oh yes, it has. And I mean, I enjoyed this season. I mean, it felt good to get back in the saddle.
Yeah.
Just to prove that I could still do it.
Yeah.
Not that I need to prove anything, but I did it, for the team. Mark
Sure.
asked, but other than that, it just felt great to do it. The first farm I sat up, the second one, thanks to Mark, gracious enough to let me kill a deer.
Sure.
Terry never invites me no more, but
He says that once you come, you ain't gonna leave.
The sticky booger.
he still owes me a buck though because I killed 2 does over in his Illinois farm.
I'm gonna let him know about
Yeah.
that.
I told him that. He said it's voided.
Voided.
Old farm.
Oh, farm.
This deal is nullified.
Well, let me tell you, he's let Yapper kill a lot of does, and I don't remember him killing too many bucks.
But, big shout out though to KNS Outfitters there in Madison, Kansas, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to harvest such a mature deer.
Hey,
Sure.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
good
glad that
for
worked
you
out.
and them. And sounds like a hell of a shot and hell of a foot. That is not easy to, as Tim knows very well, not easy to sell film. And a big deer comes out, and a lot of them. One that you had no idea he was there, did you?
Nope, no idea.
That's almost unheard of anymore. With all
Yeah,
the cameras, trail cameras, almost unheard of.
And Caleb runs a cell cam on that farm.
Yeah.
And just
Which is always part of the fun.
Yeah, what could happen.
Exactly. The potential that's out there.
So does he think that it was because of the commotion on the neighboring property? I mean,
on the first day
yeah.
that the deer didn't come out.
No, that all those deer started showing up that night, and then this new deer shows up that you never saw before.
Right, for sure. He thinks 100% that with all the movement that came after light was because of those
Yeah.
guys over there hunting and hooping and hollering.
Yeah. Wow.
Send him a Christmas card.
Is that thank you? And
you
he goes,
very
well,
much.
this is the one they didn't shoot though.
Yeah. I wonder what they killed.
Yeah. But just on the, we talk about DeerCast and how it, it tells you poor, great, whatever. But every day when I was in camp, we had 14 original hunters showed up. Every morning they'd come to me. And I said, hey, I want to start charging you guys a fee. I go, you guys need to get the app, get it. You'll love it. And I showed the features about Deer Track and I showed it all. And I think a bunch of guys got interested in it. But anyway, even though with the temps being the way they are, we had 14 original hunters, 13 guys killed.
That's nice.
Wow.
13 out of 14.
And having that rifle,
Game changer.
it is game changer. I mean, gun season in any of these states, it's like, man, it's warm, but I got a gun in hand. That's kind of the mentality. It's like,
Yeah, it's the equalizer.
You never know, like why not? Let's just go. You never know what's going to happen.
Sure. Heck yeah.
And I don't want to sound like an info commercial or anything like that, but on my first setup, I moved my blind because where I was at, I didn't like it. I saw a lot of heads of deer. I really couldn't see anything, so I moved my blind. Wind was kind of wrong with it. I live by nose jammer. I tell you what, there's some footage that I did film using nose jammer. Will make a believer out of you. The deer would literally come looking for me and get within 10 yards of the blind and look, and just turn around and walk off.
Because you're in a ground blind there. It's
I'm
not
a ground blind. My own. I sat it up that day and
Yeah.
nose jammed it and
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. The other night, I forget where Scott and I were hunting, if Marthasville or I think it was in Illinois, and we were kind of hunting an iffy wind, and we were getting winded a little bit, and it's like, all right, let's put a little nose jammer out. We put a little nose jammer out, and then the rest of the evening they were coming within 5 steps of us. I had some Instagram stories where they're like underneath us and downwind.
Yeah.
And it's just like this stuff is pretty amazing.
it is
Pro
amazing.
tip, don't confuse the deodorant with the wax stick. It's uncomfortable. So just saying.
Rash,
Just telling people.
Or the wipes.
not getting it off.
But I'm not sweating. I'll tell you that much.
So, but hopefully I get to return the favor. Our number one deer show back up in Illinois. I'm going to try to get over there and film the landowner kill that.
Awesome.
Because I enjoy filming just as much as I do hunting. So hopefully we can get that big boy down.
Well, good luck. Had a hell of a year. You going back to Marks at all for late season or filming or anything?
I ain't heard word. Normally, though, with those guys that got in the studio, they got plenty of camera guys. They got 4 guys if they need it. So
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I bet. Did you make some margaritas in Kansas?
Oh, 2 nights in a row.
Do you bring your blender with you?
Everywhere.
Do you have it today?
It's like my credit card.
Do you have a name for it?
My baby.
It's only 9 o'clock here, but it's probably not.
I don't care. I got a long day ahead of me.
What's the old saying? It's time to drink somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. No,
As a non-drinker, it's called 5 o'clock somewhere.
here at Mad Dog Camp, we have a new saying, though, when it's, if DeerCast is kind of off a little bit or the weather's bad, we're going blind or blender.
Blind or blender. I'd say blender.
You make the choice.
Yeah, you can't
I
lose.
know your camp, that camp. It's
Yeah,
blender
it's
probably
blender,
wins
blender
out
time.
most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well,
Should we
next.
answer somebody's question of the day today?
Why not?
Okay. What were you going to say? You go.
Well, I was going to tease the fact that we've got Yo Daddy on for next week's show.
Old man winner himself. Big fancy.
Big fancy, man. How'd you
Chief
pull that?
engine.
Chief white man.
Yeah.
I
Otherwise,
own all this thing.
I own all this land.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Question of the day is proudly brought to you by Tenzing. Go further, hunt longer. Tenzing.
Hi, my name is Craig Ray. I'm from Piqua, Ohio. My question for the Drury team is, I have a 9-point that's around my property, just 50 acres in southern Ohio, all spring, all summer, into the fall. But come rut, he disappears. Don't see anything. Don't see him at all until around muzzleloader season, which is January. And is that a dominance thing, or there's plenty of does on my property, so I don't think it's a lack of does. So I was just wondering. Thanks a lot.
I mean, before he said that last part about does, I was going to say it might be lack of does, and he's just traveling to find one in
Second
heat.
or third,
Yeah, but I don't know, dog. What do you think on that one?
Is it the right doe, though?
Yeah.
That's the big question. Is it the white? Because you know yourself, when the big matures walk out, they look at a field and there's does everywhere, but he goes to that one certain one.
Yeah.
Like he knows.
Pretty amazing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
On that new lease we're on, we noticed we've had, we've not had great luck as far as seeing them in daylight. They're pretty nocturnal, but in general, there's not a lot of does on it. We had a high buck density versus the doe side of it. And so when the rut came, what I had feared came true, and they basically disappeared. I mean, we didn't see much of anything on camera. And, then 3 miles north, a neighboring farm got pictures of our real big deer that we were after. And I had feared he was going to get killed, and he didn't end up getting killed during the gun season. He showed back up here a week or so ago, but they're going to their circle gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And this deer, he's obviously the oldest, most mature buck on the farm. And his home core was so small. I mean, we were on the fringe of, I think, where his home turf was. And then when he started looking for that first doe, the circles that he was making on the property, it just started going further in and wider. And it was just getting bigger and bigger. And then he disappeared. And it's like, all right, he didn't find what he was looking for. And he disappeared, and he went somewhere where he did find it. And like I said, it was 3 miles north. And I mean, there's all kinds of studies that show they can go 7 miles. They can really travel during that period. So it's not, I don't think it's irregular that happens. And to your point, it must just be the right. He just wasn't seeing the right doe.
If I could just add to that target deer that they first set me up on was killed 3.5 miles Sunday or Monday
Really?
from where I was originally sitting.
Really?
Yeah, so 3.5 miles. He was originally killed.
Well, we're about to hit that feedback stage here in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And one of the main factors of that is their home ranges are changing. They're shifting. And so like that may work in your favor. It may work against you. It just depends on if they're shifting off of you.
Yeah.
But again, like a great reason to watch the phase tactic breakdown videos in DeerCast, because it breaks out, like it tells you what you ought to expect and how to hunt these times.
Yeah, I've been looking very forward to this late season feedback pattern because I mean, November is probably it's probably my least favorite month of the core deer season because it's so random.
Sure.
And you try to pattern them, you think you got them figured out, and then that's about the time they'll move and go do whatever. And so we're getting to that part where they're going to go back to a home range, whether it's on you or not on you is probably dependent on your food source. You know, we have 2 different fields where we got 2.5 acres of standing beans on this new property. Now on the old lease, all we got are our biologic food plots. And in the late season, all the crops are out and it just doesn't, we see the farm just completely, it's like a light switch. They're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
They're finding the food somewhere else a lot of times. So I'd say for Craig, it just really depends if he's got some good late season food sources for him. And especially Ohio, it gets really cold over there. And then usually they have all kinds of snow. And, I would think standing beans or standing corn or, that would be a big key of getting on them.
Right.
Of course, they can bait there too. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that, if he can afford to do it,
Sure.
why not put some analogics out and see what comes.
Yeah. So Craig, give me a shout on Facebook and we will get you a DeerCast ball cap for submitting that question. Thank you. And then the wildlife word. It's brought to you by the Stanley Sportsman series of insulated mugs. Perfect gift for the outdoorsman in your life. Okay, so this is a weird one, but when scientists in the UK compared the crash resistance of deer antler to a deer femur, what did they find? A, an answer to a question no one asked. B, that the antler was 6 times stronger than the femur. C, that the femur was 6 times stronger than the antler. Or D, that both were equally strong.
We always let our guests go first, Coon Dog. What do you got?
I'm going to go with the last one, D.
That they're equally strong.
Yeah, equally strong.
That's probably the right answer. I'm going to go with C. The femur was 6 times stronger than the antler.
So actually, the antler was 6 times stronger than the femur.
Wow.
And the engineering feat here that baffles scientists is that typically you get strength through flexibility. Like a tree, as it bends, it's stronger. But somehow deer antlers are very rigid. They're more rigid than a femur, but they are also stronger than the femur. So somehow there's this, they were created in a way that these antlers can be rigid and inflexible, more inflexible than a femur, yet stronger.
And think about the force, when 2 bucks are really going at it.
Yeah.
Think of the force that's happening between, to break off an antler. I got a mature buck on our piece that basically his whole left side's missing, and he's a big deer, and it's like, man, who did that to him?
There? Yeah. There's a picture going around the internet right now of 2 deer going at you. Just see like a dust storm, and there's one chunk of antler flying off.
Yeah.
Like, man, just
Awesome
the forces
photo.
involved there is incredible. But they're just, the more you learn about whitetail, the more incredible they are.
Like Coon Dog.
Well, see, about that question, I should have did my old technique and just went any, meeny, miny, mo, like I did in school.
It served you well.
How'd that do for you?
Well, carried a D average.
Pretty good.
Sweet.
Didn't flunk.
Well, episode 240 next week, Mr. Terry Drury. So people will definitely want to tune into that.
Oh, Definitely.
Definitely. We get a lot of feedback that say, we love it when Mark and Terry are on. We feel less like we're cheated.
$200 is $200.
It's true. So true. Awesome. Coon Dog, thanks for hopping on.
Oh,
man.
I
Great
appreciate
having you.
it.
Congrats on a hell of a
Fun.
season.
Yeah, it's good. I'm blessed. That's all I can say.
It's nice when it comes together, man. It makes you feel 10 feet tall and bulletproof.
Yeah, it does make it feel good.
Heck yeah. All right.
So-
Well, you enjoy those margaritas in the late season, and
Yeah. Yep. Thirsty Thursdays, Wednesdays,
Come up with other
Monday.
names for all the days in the week. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate it.
all right, until next time, peace out. Temperatures are going to be dropping. Perfect conditions for the skinny field.
Gotta focus on those afternoon hunts.
Northwest Tree Stand, 5 p.m.
It's the easiest decision you'll make this season. Get ahead of your game with DeerCast.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DOD TV was brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.